Hey, good morning. Today is Tuesday, April the 2nd, 2024. The time now is 7:02 a.m. Climate change is a very important, very significant, very profound, whether we are talking about in terms of reality or in terms of the discussions that takes place around the world uh, relating to climate change. Now, I do believe personally that climate change is real. There is a reality to climate change. Let me stress, I am not an expert, just a man with an opinion, a man with an idea about various topics or an idea on various topics relating to international relations, relating to our global community. And I want to share or I want to participate in various discussions out there to share my opinion. Now, I may be wrong, that's fine. I hope to learn. I hope to be able to uh, modify, update, or change completely, or uh, drop completely my belief based on various topics out there. Now, in terms of my belief about climate change, I can say that it is also based on experiences that I have, that I've had around the world. For example, let's say in Africa. Originally, I am an African. I was born in Africa. I left Africa in 2001 and I only returned in 2017 for the first time after 16 years. And also in 2019, December, I went back to Africa. In fact, I was in Africa during the time when COVID-19 was becoming an issue in China. So, reflecting my past in Africa, yes, Africa is hot. Oftentimes, when people talk about Africa being hot, they say it in a stereotypical manner. They say it as if in Africa we have the sun like right here, uh, just like a gun to our head. That's where the sun is. Yes. So, but Africa is hot. Yes, it is a hot place. Even during the rainy season or during the dry season, the summer, it is hot throughout the year. I went to Africa, as I said a couple of seconds ago, in December of 2019. I remember that time and even the past in 2017 when I was in Africa. Every time after taking a shower, whether I shower with cold water or warm water, I would basically go to the fan, okay? I often made sure that we have a fan where I would turn on the fan and the fan is blazing and I will sit in front of the fan. That's the time I will put on my lotion and also relax because it keeps me from sweating, okay? It keeps me from being hot. But one thing I would say in terms of Africa, the heat seems to be based or is rooted solely on the mostly on the humidity. Okay, the African heat seems to come uh, mostly from the humidity. Okay, it is hot, but we can feel the humidity as part of the heat. But when I travel around the world, okay, especially in the West, I notice, yes, it is hot, but it appears to me that the heat that comes from the West, the heat that I experience while in the West, is an added heat. That means you got the natural heat from the sun's radiations or whatever, but also there seems to be an additional heat that is the result of electricity, the additional things that we as people takes for granted that we use, okay, such as all the electronic, or all the technological appliances out there. So, for example, when you drive in the car produces heat. When you plug your whatever your line, your electric line cable in the socket, it produces heat. So, for example, let's say you want to charge your phone, plug your phone, and then after a few minutes, touch your phone or touch the wire. You can feel it that it is hot. So, in this case, it appears to me that the heat in most places around the world, I am talking in this case of the industrialized countries, heat, uh, the heat is basically, it's an additional heat that comes from the use of electricity or the use of technological or electronic appliances. Now, in terms of climate change being a topic in the world today, it is profound. But when I hear climate change being discussed, especially in the West, I feel a sense of hypocrisy. For example, when leaders in the global South talks about climate change, they talk in terms of uh, the disasters that they are experiencing resulting from climate change, such as earthquake, such as tsunami, such as hurricane. Okay, one such leader who often will stress the impact of climate change on her country, her region, and countries around the world that are coastal or that are highland countries. uh, what is it? Mia Motley from Barbados, the Prime Minister. She's an eloquent speaker. She is a strong person, a very strong, intelligent person. She is a warrior, a revolutionary. She often stressed the impact of climate change on her country, her region, and on other places around the world, especially those countries and regions with coastlines or that are islands. But when the people in the global south, most especially, are the ones that often raise the emotional point of the impact of climate change, Western countries don't seem to care, and they are not doing anything about it. They are not trying to stop the use of fossil fuel, even though they are saying all these things uh, uh, about transferring or moving from the use of fossil fuel to the use of green technology. They're not trying to do that, first of all, because all of their corporations are enjoying right now. But they seem to ignore the grievances of the global south or of weak and powerless countries in terms of climate change. While at the same time, they seem to be pushing the narrative of carbon reduction, that the rest of the world need to reduce the production or the emission of carbon, and that the countries around the world that, let's say in this case, that have uh, fossil fuel, that have coal or other such resources that can basically produce pollution in the air, okay, pollute the air, produce carbon. The West often push the narrative that those countries should reduce their production or to cease completely. What is interesting is the hypocrisy where we are talking about rich and powerful countries that had industrialized, and not only that, they industrialized, but they did so rapidly. They industrialized without caring for the rest of the world. They industrialized without caring about uh, the impact that their use of technology or their use of fossil fuel, coal, oil uh, will have upon or might have upon the environment. Now they have industrialized completely. They are experiencing or enjoying the fruits of their industrialization. Now they are trying to tell other countries and regions around the world not to use fossil fuel, not to use coal, not to use oil or such resources out there that are known to emit pollution, okay, or carbon. Now, let me come back to the global south. If you look at the development, the reality of development all over the world, Africa is one such region that is behind, okay, significantly. Africa has to industrialize, and I do believe African industrialization is in the near future. It is going to start in the near future. Part of it is because many of us Africans, especially the young ones, we have traveled around the world. Many of us have become educated, and we are becoming educated fast. Many of us are hungry. We have ideas for business, entrepreneurship. We are talented, and we want to make our mark in the world in terms of economics, finance, trade, and in other various forms. Okay, we are going back home. We are taking our money back home. We are investing. We are coming up with a lot of interesting schemes. Africa must industrialize, and it's going to industrialize. Now, African industrialization must happen fast because we have a very huge population, especially of young people and of uneducated people that we have to service, that we have to prepare rapidly. Our fast industrialization, there is no better example out there for a rapid industrialization that Africa should or can copy than the Chinese. The Chinese industrialized fast over, it took the Chinese about 40 years, okay? 30, 40 years. The Chinese government or China manages to get about 750 to 800 million people out of poverty. Okay? Once again, it is said that the Chinese industrialization manages to get about 750 to 800 million people out of poverty, okay? Out of extreme poverty, depending on the source. Now, I usually say depending on the source because sources have it, the numbers, the estimate, different. But I've seen 700, I've seen 750, and I've seen 750 million to 800 million people. So China's industrialization is the better example that Africa can copy. Africa must industrialize fast. And in terms of African industrialization and copying the fast industrialization of China, and the fact that Africa is behind significantly, Africa will have to use its resources. Africa will have to use its coal and its oil and other forms or kinds of fossil fuel, whether they create pollution or not. So the fact that Western countries, powerful countries, are pushing the narrative of climate change and the idea that other countries and region, okay, must reduce their use of fossil fuel or their use of resources that produce carbon or carbon dioxide or whatever, carbon, is outrageous. Because what this is saying is, Africa, don't industrialize. Remain what and how you are, and have your people suffer. That is basically what they are saying. Okay? Africa has no choice. Africa must industrialize and industrialize rapidly. Okay? Africa must industrialize and industrialize rapidly, and following the Chinese model of fast paced industrialization. But Africa will have to use its fossil fuel, okay, its coal, its oil, and so on. Yes, that is going to create more pollution, But then it begs the question, what is the alternative? I find it very interesting but hypocritical that the West and richer and powerful countries are pushing the narrative of climate change and the reduction of resources that, such as oil and uh, coal, that produces pollution or carbon emission in the environment, while at the same time are reluctant or are refusing to produce or provide the alternative to the powerless countries or the poor countries that are preparing to industrialize themselves. So my thing is, if the West is going to industrialize and enjoy their industrialization and did not care about the impact of their industrialization on the global community or the global environment, why is it that they are now making others look bad? Okay, they are now pointing their fingers, wagging their fingers at those countries and regions around the world that needs to industrialize quicker and be able to provide for their people. But yes, part of this reality, there has been a recent interview video that came out. So the Prime Minister of Guyana, and he basically pointed the finger at Guyana, stressing the whole notion of Guyana is about to drill oil rapidly, and that Guyana will pollute the environment. Guyana will become a significant producer of carbon emission. And it is very interesting because the Prime Minister of Guyana basically told him, do not point your finger at us. You guys are hypocrites. And the fact that you industrialize and now you are telling us not to industrialize is basically shameful. So I just want to put it in a like a paraphrase manner in terms of what the Prime Minister of Guyana said. But yes, so once again, I do believe in climate change because what I used to feel back then as a young man growing up in Africa compared to what I feel now as an adult is different. The heat now seems very much difficult to handle. Perhaps my body is much older, so my body, the fact that I am active, produces more heat. That, in addition to the natural heat being produced by the sun's ray, basically makes me much more uncomfortable. Perhaps that is the extra heat that I'm feeling. But also, the heat that I'm feeling now, especially when I'm in the West, seems to be an addition resulting from the use of technology, resulting from the use, okay, of electricity. So, yes, but I will end by going back to what I stated in terms of the fact that Africa will industrialize and Africa must industrialize. The rest of the global south that are not industrialized will industrialize and must industrialize. However, China produces or provides the best alternative, the best example of rapid industrialization. And the rest of the world, the global south, will have to use its resources to globalize. This then means the West will have to provide the alternative to the current resources that pollute the environment or just shut up. I am going to end here. Thank you very much for watching The Echoing Voice. Peace.